Hello, and welcome to Please Don't Send Me into Outer Space, the podcast intent on exploring then all that science... What are we even talking? We're talking about Blue Oyster Cult here, so I'm getting a little mixed up here on what... no, they only have 2 songs. I know you said there was a third, the Godzilla song, but I'm pretty sure
of songs, Joel.
That's by somebody else.
No.
It's science fiction, fantasy, one movie at a time.
Wow.
Guys. And my name is Joel.
My name is Sarah.
My name, reluctantly, is Aaron.
Your name is Mud.
Oh.
The movie this week is Mute from 2018, directed by Duncan Jones and written by Michael Robert Johnson and Duncan Jones, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Paul Rudd, Justin Theroux. Let's see, who else do we got here? IMDb has it in a weird order, probably by appearance or something. Zainab Salah, Robert Sheehan, and there's a couple of cameo-type people that I'm not sure people know their names, necessarily. Maybe Dominic Monaghan.
Oh, yeah, Dominic.
As soon as I saw that guy, I was like, is that guy a Hobbit, or am I crazy? And the answer is both.
I mean, I don't want to get into it too far, but it's pretty amazing how you can immediately see he was a Hobbit.
And he's got that face, you know?
No, fair enough. He does have a Hobbit-like face. It's true.
Is he Merry or Pippin?
I believe.
What do we got here, Sarah?
That's the man who sings that song, and that's a still from the video.
Oh, okay. Well, looks like a very good video.
His name's Dan Hill.
Oh.
I don't know much about it.
Well, nobody on the recording is going to know what we're talking about because I'm not putting that stuff in.
Okay.
Oh. I'm just kidding. It'll be on the end of the episode.
Oh.
Stay tuned, listener.
So, Mute?
Yeah, Sarah, you picked Mute.
Yeah, I did.
And I gotta say, I'm really glad you did.
Yeah, same here.
Me too. I didn't even know it was something I wanted to see. I had a couple of ideas, but I wanted to go through sci-fi movies on Netflix and just see which might appeal to me, and I saw what this was, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the Duncan Jones movie. And we have not done Moon yet on the episode. One of my very best friends who lives in the UK would like to guest with us and do Moon at some point. But Moon is a very big fave of mine, and I wanted to see what this was. And it's completely different from Moon. But I'm glad I picked it too. I just kind of read the synopsis, and I like Alexander Skarsgård, and I was like, let's try it out. I actually liked it a lot. There's obviously some things I did not like about it, but...
Ooh, tell me.
We can get into
we'll
that.
Get into it later.
This is a new movie. It came out last year or something, and we're gonna spoil it. So we're gonna say some things first off, and then... But we watched Mute with Alexander Skarsgård and Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux.
And we all liked it.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. And it's if you watch it a second time, you notice things you didn't notice the first time.
Yeah, it rewards a second viewing for sure. This movie got slammed by critics. Like, I think it's got like a 32% Rotten Tomatoes type score, and I don't know what people were expecting. I guess like this came out after Warcraft, which I know was a big bomb for Duncan Jones, but that wasn't like his original idea. I don't know if Source Code was. Did either of you see Source Code?
No.
Yeah, I heard good things about that one.
I don't know. I feel with movies like Warcraft, I don't really know how much say he had
Yeah.
on a lot of that, it being controlled content to begin with, and I feel this is an entirely different, creature.
Right. This is more personal, because this is a story he'd already come up with and, just hadn't been able to produce back in the time. Netflix gave him the money to do it. And I'm really happy with what came out. Like, I think it goes along with Moon, and he says it's a spiritual sequel. It takes place in the same world, to spoil that, as Moon. So you're not getting, it's not like Moon 2 or anything like that. It just takes place in a future that kind of dark, like Moon is like a comedy, basically, right? It's like a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy,
sci-fi.
for sure.
Yeah, I love Moon as well, and this is a lot different from Moon, but this has like a, not to spoil Moon for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's a great movie. But there are sci-fi elements that happen in that future that are in line with some sci-fi elements that happen in this future, and they kind of coexist.
If listeners go back to some of our top sci-fi list episodes, I listed Moon as one of my favorites, so I really like this director a lot. I'm real glad you picked this movie, Sarah.
Oh,
it was
thanks.
So rad.
I'm glad too. I didn't know I didn't even really know. I think maybe Joel and I had talked about it at one point, that he had another movie coming out, and I didn't know that it was something Alexander Skarsgård was in. I forgot what it was called, and they both start with the letter M and are 4 letters long.
Ooh.
So if he did another one, we were saying there might be another movie in this trilogy that it starts with an M and is 4 letters long.
Better hit those the books. Let's figure out all the 4-letter words with the word M.
Yeah. The next movie is going to be called Muff. You can figure out what that's about. Yeah. See, I was excited for this movie when it was coming out last year. And I was like, oh, we're definitely going to do this movie for the podcast when it gets on Netflix and everything like that. And it just, like I said, it got slammed by the critics. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't watch this. And I just kind of let it lie. I think I mentioned it once to you guys and just never brought it up again after that. And I don't know. I don't know if like how I would have felt if I had watched it then. I don't think I would have had a negative feeling about it. And if anything, probably having my expectations so low when we watched it now helped with it. But like even on this second rewatching here that we were just doing, we got about halfway through it a second time. I'm still really enjoying it. So it's not, I don't know what to say. It feels like on the same level as like the new Blade Runner, except not quite as like sci-fi crazy as that one is. It's more of a like a gradual progression of like where we might be with very, very unsexy robots in it, but not that many of them.
I really like the comparison with Blade Runner though, because I definitely got so many vibes from this movie with that comparison for sure.
Yeah. I think maybe people were disappointed because they wanted it to be like Moon, and Moon is so good and so simple that it's like kind of perfect. And this movie, it's on Earth and it's not in a controlled environment. There's a lot of things going on, and they do build the world, but they build it and there's some characteristics of it that some people might not have liked, and that's okay. It's a sci-fi movie. Sometimes they do things in those that are different, a different way than you might think the world would be or whatever. But yeah, I liked it, and I think there's definitely some really cringeworthy moments. But it kind of reminded me of, not to give anything really away yet, but it kind of reminded me of a Luc Besson type future.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a Blade Runner vibe, but there's also this like kind of goofy like weirdos running around too type thing happening. And it also kind of reminded me of the Netflix series Maniac that recently I watched. There were even I think there were some casting overlaps too. Justin Theroux.
That's when Netflix, man. You get, if you get on one Netflix project, they're like, okay, we got these 3, pick one, and then it like branches out in this tree.
That's
That's what
cool.
happens. Yeah, that's great.
That's cool. I think they have enough of a variety that I haven't been like, no, the actors are all good, and it hasn't seemed like I'm seeing too many of them over and over or something.
Yeah, and you can. It feels like you can pick to do interesting projects. Like they'll give you some things that are some straightforward, like this is a romantic comedy, but like out of every 2 movies, there's going to be one that's like, well, this one's a little weird, but it's a different kind of thing, and I think it really works out. Before, I think this part got cut off, but you were talking about how Alexander Skarsgård in the movie. I love his career.
I do too.
Just in general, like he's
guy's
always
an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's just always picks interesting things. Like he doesn't want to be stuck in one thing. It seems like
he doesn't just want to be like the hunk, like leading guy.
Well, too bad.
Well, I mean, his vampire role, of course.
Yeah, but I think that he chooses things that are interesting on purpose.
Yeah.
And I think he respects his father's work, Stellan Skarsgård, and I think Stellan Skarsgård is amazing. I love him. And I think that he probably told him, that you can do these types of things, or you can mix it up and do things that are more challenging and interesting. And he probably, they're 2 different people, but I think he definitely was influenced by his dad, probably.
Of course,
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad never did anything, I would say, as far as I'm aware, that was like generic. The closest he gets to any generic thing is the Marvel movies that he's in. And even then, I think he's having fun. He shows up naked in the second Thor movie.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He has a diverse career, too. And I think Alexander Skarsgård chooses things that are, like, difficult. Like, he has to act without using certain things, and in this case, act without a voice.
Yeah. He's the mute in this movie. And, I'm trying to think, like, is the movie feels like it's not even really about him. It feels like it is about the world and the environment that is happening all around these guys, and like what's happening to the people being chewed up by this little ecosystem that they have, that the characters are existing in. And it does such a good job storytelling wise of like telling you everything you need to know about the characters' pasts and what's going on. And some of it might feel, I guess if I was like hyper analyzing, I could be like, well, yeah, that's a little in your face. But there's so many movies that are just be like, well, a bunch of people ran away from the U.S. Army and they're hiding from Germany. Somebody would actually say that. In this movie, it's like a clip on a newspaper that he's not even looking at that part. That just happens to be on screen, and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
His upbringing, like nobody. I think somebody does call him, an Amish person at some point in the movie, but the beginning part, you just kind of, like, you can see how he ended up the way he is, because his character, Alexander Skarsgård's character, Leo, in this movie is like people keep calling him a technophobe. I don't think that's the case. He just stays away from as much of it as he can, like the function.
So I get out of it too.
It made it seem like there was a subculture within this future, not to give too much away before we say spoilers, but it seemed like in the movie there was a subculture of people who were trying to live more natural and less based in technology than everybody else was.
Totally.
And they mentioned somewhere in it that it's against his mother's beliefs. for him to get a surgery that may possibly allow him to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do say something about his religion. He's not completely cut off from the world. He's trying to exist within it. And that's kind of interesting, too.
Yeah.
To me as well.
Yeah, he's a young 39-year-old who's, I don't know, it says like 30 years later because it starts off in the beginning, you see what happened to his vocal cords in the first place, and then it like flash forwards and says 30 years later. So like, I don't know how old Alexander Skarsgård actually is. So, but, what was I going with that? Whatever.
Do you want to say like anything before we get into spoilers?
I think that the only thing that I really want to say before we get into spoilers is that you need to give this movie a chance.
Yeah.
Who's been putting it off.
I never heard any of those reviews about this movie.
Similarly.
But when I looked it up after I had seen it, I was like, wow. It was almost like somebody was mad at him and like told a bunch of people to say the worst things possible about it.
He could have made some enemies, you're right.
Maybe,
being so talented.
All those Warcraft enemies.
Yeah. No, serious.
Maybe
There's probably some Reddit page out there right now. They messed up my movie. Warcraft's my favorite thing.
Oh, man.
This director's going down.
Well, I think that when I read the reviews online, I was, like, shocked by how bad they were. And I don't know, like compared to what they were comparing it to. But I don't know if it was hyped up. I don't know anything about that. I just know that based on knowing nothing going into it, I liked the movie. And we watch a lot of science fiction movies, and it was better than a lot of them, I think, that we've seen. Not all of them, but better than a lot that we have seen.
It's on the upper half of the stuff we watch.
Right.
Like, solid 7 out of 10, or if not.
I mean, it was no Star Crystal, but it was pretty good.
Crystal of the stars. Mute. No, Mute didn't have
Mute was
its own
amazing.
song, no.
It was amazing. Yeah, it didn't have
sure.
its own theme song. We'll get past that, though.
Uh-huh. All right, so we're going to break into spoilers right now. So if you do not want to be spoiled on the movie, we all recommend it.
We recommend it.
If you want to
recommend it,
write any suggestions in, write in a pleasedon'tpodcast@gmail.com or message us on Facebook, facebook.com/PDSMiOS. All the rest of the credits I'll save for the end of the rest of the show, but the links to all my usual stuff are in the show notes. All right. For breaking in for this how do you say spoiler? For breaking in, I don't know what's going on with my life. Anyways, we have a product. We're going to break in with another soda break special here. Some Soda Nonsense, a podcast that temporarily existed in between our episodes. That if you really want to listen to those, I could send you the file. I don't have it. It's not anywhere you can get, but we have a special drink. Aaron, can you crack open that can and pour us?
Oh, I'll be your Vanna White.
Do the honors.
You'll be our Leo, the bartender.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
So, Stranger Things Season 3 is coming out this year. And one of the products that has come out along with that is Coca-Cola decided to re-release new ! Coke. And so I bought us a couple of cans. And I have no idea what this is going to end up tasting like. I haven't even smelled it. I haven't read a review. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm kind of excited. Oh yeah, in the cup. You guys know about New Coke?
I know that it was a thing. That's about it.
Yeah. It may have been a marketing ploy just to increase the sales of original Coke.
Salut.
I'm smelling it. It smells like regular Coke to me. What does it taste like?
A cola.
I need to report. To me, it tastes like Coca-Cola.
It doesn't taste like Coca-Cola to me.
Really?
Me neither. It tastes similar,
Really?
but I think
What
it
am I
tastes
missing
more
out?
like a different brand of cola.
It almost tastes like Pepsi or RC to me. Just like a... Because Coke has that, like...
And you're right, it's not as sharp. It's not as sharp as Coke.
Bite at the end.
It has that very strong, almost gingerish kind of, like, thick thing going on, yeah. And this feels lighter.
It is lighter than Coca-Cola.
Yeah, RC is what I'm tasting here.
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I actually like, yeah. Cola nut flavor.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised it tastes like this.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
I enjoy an RC cola.
Mhm.
So, after you mentioned that, that's pretty much what I'm experiencing at this point.
The Royal Crown. In a saw.
I feel like I could go play with some He-Man action figures now,
Yeah.
after enjoying a new Coke.
Now I know what
Live my
new...
best 80s life possible.
I know what new tastes like now.
This is what new tastes like. Yeah, you guys are finally getting it for the first time.
I feel so fresh, so new.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I could defeat anything in the Upside Down.
I wonder what the world would be like if we had faced those kinds of things in the 80s
Monsters?
and now the world was different.
I don't even know.
I just keep seeing people trying to use the Upside Down for their own benefits, like maybe dumping world trash into there. Or that's what I foresee.
I think the
A
upside...
giant dumpster.
Yeah,
for all
a
our trash.
landfill.
Yeah,
Upside down landfill.
that was my first thoughts of us having access to another dimension where it's kind of sucks.
I mean, the Upside Down is essentially Monsters Inc. land, right? Like,
Yeah.
the energy source is our fear, so...
Might as well dump our trash in there.
Yeah, and our fear. It's a pretty good show.
I actually really enjoy Stranger Things.
I
quite a
do
bit.
too.
Yeah.
Just tangent, but
lot
I
of-
do.
A lot of flack on season 2 there from a lot of people, but I
What?
liked season 2.
Yeah, I like season
I
2
hear
a lot.
I talk to a lot of nerds, Joel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know you do.
I talk to a lot of them, and
Yeah.
collectively they all were kind of meh to it was all right
No,
about season 2, but I
You know-
loved it.
I mean...
I loved the world building. I loved, and I cannot wait for season 3.
Ever since you told me that Iron Man 2 is your favorite movie of all time, I don't know if I could take your...
Favorite movie of all time. Hey,
Let's dial that back a little.
if my
Let's
gift
dial
is
that
to
back.
understate things, your gift is to over-exaggerate.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I mean, of all 3 Iron Men movies, The Man of Iron, Iron Man 2 was my favorite of all 3. Why? Sam Rockwell. That's why.
I mean, who's the only good thing in that movie? That's the problem.
And I,
Spoiler,
Yes?
Sam Rockwell was in the movie we watched.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
yeah. See, that's a good nod that happens in Mute. That, like, it's funny. Like, if you hadn't seen Moon, it wouldn't mean
You
anything.
wouldn't know, yeah.
Except for it's kind of a weird, like, what's going on? But there's like a news story going on in the background where we see Sam Rockwell in a courtroom, and he's saying something, and he says his name, and a guy in the courtroom stands up, who's also Sam Rockwell, and stands up and is like, "That's my name too."
Spoiler alert
Yeah.
for Moon.
And then isn't there like a newspaper clipping later or something like that when we see, or
Oh, it's another footage thing that they
okay.
have in an apartment later. You see it on a TV screen.
yeah? So it totally takes place in the Moon Mooniverse.
Mhm.
Mooniverse.
Yes,
I think that's like an uncredited cameo that
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So good.
to get into this movie, it was good. It was weird. There were some really creepy things.
Yes. I'm not trying to celebrate the creepiness
Mhm.
of this movie. But this movie was cool.
it just
Yeah.
occurred to me that we didn't even talk about Paul Rudd in the non-spoiler section.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the images that comes up on Netflix is Paul Rudd and his gigantic walrus stash going on there. And like him playing, I mean, he's a villain in this movie, but he's almost like, as we're watching it, we become more sympathetic to him, you know.
Yeah, you feel like he's not a good guy in the beginning, but you don't really feel like he's the worst guy
Right.
that you see.
Because he's got his daughter, and he's very protective of her, to a point at least. I mean,
Yeah. Drops her off at, like, bordellos for her to hang out.
babysitted by prostitutes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he Paul Rudd's character just happens to have reliable ladies of the night to help him out.
Ladies of the night. No, wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a song, Joel.
It is.
Paul Rudd's character in this was so crazy because it's like he always plays the nice guy in things, and he seems like he might be a nice guy in this too. And there's all these things you don't know about going on.
Right, he's got his like usual kind of snarky thing going on, and he's also he plays a bit tough sometimes, but he also has these like mood swings where because he's mostly interacting with Justin Theroux, we usually see him getting the ire that suddenly flared up, but it becomes like he goes from 0 to 10, where it's like, like you said something I don't like, so I'm going to almost break your fingers here.
Yeah, that seems to be. But that's the thing with this movie is because once you learn more about the character that he's always mad at all the time, it's almost just like yeah, I would be upset with him too. So it's like his behavior is almost normalized in that sense, in a way. And this movie just messes with your mind.
Now, you were saying Justin Theroux in this movie is a creep. Like, he's a total
100%.
At first, we kind of like him, too, because, he's just chumming along with
You
Paul
don't
Rudd.
know.
And then we have a scene at a bowling alley where he almost immediately reveals, by being disgusting, that he is probably a pedophile.
Attracted to very young people.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe. They say that back and forth through the whole movie. They're like, yeah, babe.
Cactus Pete, he's babe.
Paul Rudd and this guy, I thought were a couple at first because they say, yeah, babe, back and forth to each other. And it's just one of their little, like,
they're just big
terms
Dennis
of
Miller.
endearment. It's a
Dennis
little
Miller
thing.
fans.
They're like, yeah, babe. I don't know, babe.
Come on, babe.
I don't know about that, babe. Like, and so they're just like chums and they just call each other babe all the time. And it's really funny. But, I don't know if that was something they just did on their own or if it was like written in the script or what, but, but that part was a little bit, there's some quirky stuff in this movie, but, the Justin Theroux character gets worse. I don't understand. I think we were talking about this. How there's some part of you that still, like, kind of likes the guy, even though, like, by the end of it, you're like, I don't like you.
You mean Justin Theroux?
Yeah.
Because you like him because he likes Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd likes him. Like,
exactly.
There are so many times
they have
where
a friendship.
Like, they're chumming together and they're just hanging out and doing things, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it's like any friendship. Like, if you got that one friend who's like, yeah, man, we're having such a good time and all this stuff, and then he looks at you, he's like, yeah, but I really need to do some coke right now, or I just like, oh man, we were having fun, and now you're just bringing the drugs. Come on,
it's like, Joel, please put the new coke down. You just
I love
put it down.
I love my new coke.
So initially, Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, the main character.
Oh,
Yes. He is the main character, and he is a mute man.
Not a mutant, a mute man.
He has a girlfriend.
Is that a chud?
He might be a chud.
And he is very in love with her.
Right, Nadira.
This part I thought was a little bit odd. He's Amish, but he works in a nightclub, and he seems to be sleeping with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I like. I don't we don't get the backstory of like
No.
why he's not part of. I mean, maybe he felt betrayed by his mother because of the actions in the beginning, like her
Right.
deciding that. I mean, the doctors are like, we can do this surgery and
he'll be able to
okay,
speak.
but if you
Yeah.
don't do this surgery, there's a chance he'll never speak again, and that stuff, because we don't. After the beginning part, we don't get much God talk, religion talk, or anything like that. It's almost like he's left that society behind, but he holds on to some things just because that's how he
is. Yeah, possibly, babe. I'm just kidding.
Thanks, babe.
You guys are two surgeons working for the mob?
Yeah.
Yes, we
What's
are.
going on now?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got you, babe. Wait, Sharon, Sonny and Cher were both also surgeons. It's all coming together.
It is coming together now.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big fan of Hawaiian shirts, but Paul Rudd's shirt in this movie rocked pretty hard.
His stash was out of this world.
I like that shirt he had on.
He had kind of a crazy style in this movie, and okay, Alexander Skarsgård is wearing like full getup of an Amish man, and he's looking a little bit like Lurch in some parts because he's a giant and he's wearing the suit with the neck buttoned all the way up and stuff.
He is a giant. It's not his character is not a giant.
Yeah.
Alexander Skarsgård just happens to be taller than everybody.
He's kind of hunched over most of the movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part in the movie where there is a huge guy, like big old muscles guy, and he picks up Alex Skarsgård and throws him, but Skarsgård lands on his feet because he's so tall. It's like you can't really.
It looked like a special effect or something.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, how does a person that big get thrown?
that bouncer guy looked like Ray Harryhausen if he was a bouncer.
Yeah.
Like when I saw him, I was like,
Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah, dude.
The special effects guy.
No, not Ray Harryhausen. I'm thinking, no, the famous writer,
Ray Bradbury.
Ray Bradbury. Yeah,
What?
He looked like Ray Bradbury if he lived it.
I'm like Chuck Palahniuk.
Not like Chuck Palahniuk.
I don't know what Ray Bradbury looks like.
Ray Bradbury had glasses just like that.
That's
and
pretty
a very
funny.
similar face shape as well.
If he started juicing, either.
But if he started juicing, that's what he looked like to me, man.
Oh, you see this guy playing chess at one point too, so he's a smart guy.
Yeah, intelligent.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You can be intelligent in a bouncer.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure of it.
oh yeah. And it's like, well, I don't know if there's. I was going to say some character from The Sopranos, but I don't know if there's like a character that's like looks like that from The Sopranos. It reminds me. Oh, I was thinking that's funny. It reminds me of the character Monster from. What is that comic book series I used to read? Stray Bullets.
Oh.
Which nobody who's going to get that reference. Anyways,
Hey, thank you for referring to an obscure comic book, Joel.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My heart's aflutter.
So the story is he's trying to find out what happened in Dara, because one night she just shows up at his door and we don't really know what happened. But she's like, there's things I have to tell you, all this stuff like that. And they're too busy making out for her to ever actually get to tell him what happens. But the next morning he wakes after we assume that they consummated their love.
Oh.
She's gone from the bed and he goes to work. She's not there. They worked at the same place, by the way, with Mickey from Doctor Who. No, he doesn't work there. He's just a piece of crap customer. And that sends him on a search trying to find her. And it's him finding clues and asking people, the way he can, which is he has to write or shows people pictures, and they're usually everybody's spitting in this poor guy's face, basically.
That's a little bit, that makes it a little bit more interesting, though, that he can't just ask people questions the way a normal person would. He has to, and he is doing a pretty good job at using the information he has to get some information, but yeah, there's this weird thing going on where his girlfriend is missing. he knows that she had a secret she was going to tell him, but he doesn't know what it was. And...
Was that secret diarrhea? Oh, wait, sorry.
She gave him a cell phone, which he doesn't really even know that much about because he hasn't really used much technology, but somebody has been sending him these weird...
Yeah, like cryptic messages that are supposed to be from her.
Yeah, they're supposed to be from her, but it's weird.
Yeah, he quickly realizes it can't be from her because of the way the messages are coming.
Yeah.
And we didn't, it reveals who was sending the messages at the end of the movie, but on the second watch through we were like, oh, like they show you pretty on who would have been doing this.
When certain things might have happened.
Yeah, at that point you don't know much about the character, so you wouldn't know that this is necessarily something this jackass would have been.
That would have occurred to them, yeah. Yeah, and there are some things about this world that are pretty, like, raunchy and gross.
Wait, are you talking about the robot stripper?
Oh, yeah, the robot stripper and
the two mechanical robot sex monsters.
Sex machines.
The super Riker Sexbot 9000.
Yep. And the robots that go, ow, 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 ow. Sorry. Ow.
Well, if you're still listening, thank you.
And Dominic Monaghan is into it.
Are you talking about our Hobbit geisha?
Did you like that Blade Runner throwback? Him dressed as the geisha?
Yeah, pretty much.
Geisha. Yeah, there's... It's kind of intimated that his girlfriend might have been a call girl.
Right, yeah.
He never really comes out and says that.
Yeah, and she, he doesn't ever actually confirm it necessarily either, because everybody he asks, he goes to the brothel, which is where most of the girls work out of. But he also figures out that this other character, I think his name is Charlie, is also running girls on the side. And that's where he thinks that she ends up working. But everybody basically tells him, she never worked for us. We don't know who that is and stuff like that, except for at the bar where she actually worked. And, in a twist, it turns out that her roommate, Luba, who, you gotta love the name Luba. Once again, an obscure comic reference there.
Los Brothers Hernandez.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know. I mean, I feel like it must have been kind of a nod to that. I don't know for a fact.
It had to be.
That he moonlights as a woman using Nadira's name on occasion. And he's got a nice pair of boobs to go with it. What? Nobody? Oh. Okay, sorry.
I don't recall.
Oh, you don't recall that part?
I don't recall.
He shows it. That's a pretty good part of clue finding, because in the beginning of the movie, they get takeout. And it gets delivered, and she's like, "You don't mind eating this food again?" Oh, it just comforts me. It's like comfort food. And he goes to the takeout thing and realizes that the home delivery must have been taking it to her. He doesn't know where she lived.
Okay.
And so they backtrack the address, and it turns out to be Luba's house, because Luba and her live together. And that's where he finds out that the photo he has that he thought was Nadira the whole time actually was of Luba, using her name. So, once again, Blade Runner, it's got noir type things going on.
Yeah, it does. It has the companions that are these weird futuristic versions of escorts, and it's got the technology that you can kind of access from different places and spy on people in different ways or whatever. And then it's got a lot of stuff like Blade Runner, but I feel like it's more people are really mean to him.
Yes.
Practically everybody he encounters is mad at him. And they give him a hard time about not talking, about not using much technology.
Well, as a partial technophobe myself in this day and age, not to turn the point of view of this, our podcast discussion on myself.
Yeah, Aaron is the muse.
I don't have a
of this
smartphone.
group.
I don't have a smartphone.
You have a smartphone. It's just in the first grade.
But people notice this a lot in public.
Yeah.
When I pop out my red hot cherry flip phone with a
drug dealers
keyboard.
don't need fancy phones. All right.
Yeah, that's what everyone calls me.
Kruger Wireless.
I haven't been able to break that mold yet, but it's okay. I'm sure if I just start wearing Hawaiian shirts, no, that won't work either.
No,
it won't work.
No,
I'll always be a drug dealer apparently.
Yes.
Anyways, I get called out a lot on my little drug deal phone. So I can't compare that to a man who can't speak.
Well, okay.
But I kind of feel the same way sometimes.
Everyone assumes he's dumb because he can't talk.
Yeah.
Also because he's an Amish person. He dresses like an Amish person. He doesn't deal with technology. They assume he's dumb. But they also have good reason to assume might be weird because a couple of the first scenes we see him in, he starts to get super violent right away because he's defending his girlfriend. But he seriously is just like reaching over the counter and grabbing customers and stuff like, oh, is this guy is he crazy or something like that?
That's funny too, because I believe Amish people are pacifists.
Well, there's a little movie called Seven Psychopaths that, no.
I thought you were going to say
Sam Rockwell,
Witness.
Right? Speaking of Sam Rockwell.
A movie called Witness. A little movie called For Richer or Poorer. And I'm running out of Amish movies here.
You guys ever met any Amish people?
Can't say that I have.
I met some Mennonites once.
I don't know if I have. I've met Quakers.
Cool.
Quakers are more modern, though.
Yeah.
I met a Catholic once.
Oh, dang.
Is that different?
Not Amish.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, you don't get... So you can see why people might think this guy's trouble from the beginning.
Yeah. He's a strong, big person, and if he decides he wants to hit somebody, there's some damage done.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he is defensive of his girlfriend. I think he wants to try and protect her or save her or something, but she's a nice person and she loves him back, but it's like she has a lot of drama going on that he doesn't know about.
Yeah. And like when it finally comes time to do that, like this movie starts off with like it's too late. He can't really do anything. And he's trying to solve this mystery. The whole time you're thinking like maybe she is still alive, maybe she's hidden away or something like that, and you're not really sure what's going on. Like other people are talking about her, in the movie that are not related to him. Like Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux are occasionally mentioning her. It's like, well, what is their relationship in the first place? Like, what's going on there? Like, is there anything? But there's so much other things going on that you just kind of forget about it until the reveal at the end.
Yeah, you feel like she must know a lot of different people and move in different circles, and you feel like all of these people treat him with such disdain that you almost see them all as people that could have done something to her or could have, helped her get someplace if she was going somewhere or know what her secrets are or something. But his attitude is to inquire about stuff but also be like quiet and kind of process things. And I know that sounds funny because he's mute, but it's the character. It's well done. He acts it out really well.
It does create some very interesting interaction with other characters, him being mute.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the little girl in the restaurant is just drawing that bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so he turns around and he's just like, oh. Starts drawing a little bear, and then I don't even know what you want to call him, the gangster, the ladies man.
Weirdo dude.
Yeah. Just starts getting really upset.
Right. And he, like, when they have a conversation, but, like, it's funny the way that, like, I've heard that a good way to get people to talk about things like in an interview or something like that is to leave empty air for them to fill it in, because it's a natural reaction to if somebody's not saying something that somebody will want to fill the air.
Yes.
And so they'll, like, continue talking about whatever subject you're talking about. So there are a lot of times in the movie where people will just start filling in details while he's writing down what he actually wants, but they're, like, pertinent, and they come out. It doesn't feel unnatural the way it happens in the story.
Right.
Like, these people are used to getting their way, and they're not used to having to explain themselves. But with a person they are afraid is going to hurt them or whatever, they might be revealing too much about themselves because they think either this guy can't touch me or he's going to hurt me. Either way, like, I'm going to tell something. So it ends up working out in the movie a lot of times.
Yeah.
Excellent.
One of the main details of his character is that Alexander Skarsgård, Leo, works with wood, and he has, like, a little studio that he's been carving wood in, and he, at some point, ends up using one of the bedposts that he was carving as a weapon that he starts taking with him when he starts to encounter crazier situations as he's looking for her. It basically starts to get a little bit complicated at some point because he's gone to a few different places looking for her, and everybody's been really mean. And the more you find out about the characters, the more you're kind of wondering how it's all gonna come about. And I honestly thought that she was still alive, and that... Yeah, big spoiler for this movie. You find out at some point that she is not still alive, and how did they reveal the daughter situation? Is that when he finds her mom?
Yes. When he breaks into the apartment that she shared with Luba, on their phone list, there's only a couple of different phone numbers. One of them's unknown, but one of them is Mother. And he, like, backtraces that and then goes and sees her.
It's her. It ends up being...
Doesn't he use
Nadira's
that
mom.
drone? That drone thing?
Yeah, he follows that in the car. I forgot about that.
Follow the drone.
Follow the drone.
Mm-hmm.
Fast food drone.
Delivery for Mother.
And then he starts to find out more. There's a lot of, like, language barriers in the movie, and it's not just him not being able to speak, it's that people speak different languages from each other. I think that
all takes place in Berlin, so there's a lot of German going on.
Yeah, there's German, and then there's whatever language her mom speaks.
I thought that was also German.
Oh, I didn't notice.
It might not have been, because he didn't... I think he understands German. He didn't seem to understand what she was saying.
No, she was gesturing with her hands.
Yeah.
And
she was like, my baby! Oh, sorry.
And then you find out that she has a child. Nadira had a child. And then pieces start to come together.
It's, this whole time in the movie, Paul Rudd wants to go home, and he's waiting for him to make his fake ID for him and his daughter. And you don't really think much about it. But then, you find out that his daughter is her daughter, so that's their kid together. And it's spelled out in a way that, like, we know that Paul Rudd is the one who killed her. Although I think that part is kind of clumsy, like the reveal, because they just kind of all toss back a flashback of him, like, shown from Nadira's point of view of him, like telling her, like, you're not going to take my kid away from me, and you really need to learn to keep your mouth shut or something like that. And you don't know if she's dead or not. You see it kind of like from a plastic bag point of view, but it's, it all just kind of flashes in at once, and you don't know if he's realizing it or if he's just imagining that this happens. It turns out that was the case, that Paul Rudd is actually an evil piece of crap.
Yeah.
Lost his temper because he wanted to leave and he was going to take their daughter with him back to the U.S., but she did not want him to do that. She wanted to keep her. Is at least that's from context what we get, because that is not exactly spelled out.
Oh, yes.
But at that point, like when he's revealed to be like the evil person, we don't think of him as the evil person in this movie, though, because
his friend.
Out of all the characters that are just so nefarious in this movie, it's just so gradual, like which one's the best? Who's worse? I don't know.
Oh, but that ending, I thought it was going to end on like the worst sour note of all time, and that was like, maybe that's why everybody hated it. Turned out that's not how it ended, but I almost would have been like, well, that was a brave choice to do, like,
yeah,
kind of like, oh yeah, I approve of that, even though I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again. I will watch. I mean, we are watching it again right now because the after he kills Paul Rudd, because of course he does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he finds out. We find out, not until he does, that her body is like in the corner of this basement where they've been doing the surgeries. There are 2 doctors that have been doing surgeries in this basement, and she's just like back in the corner, like in a bag, like
Twin Peaks,
like he
not
just
in the river,
like he just
still fish in the percolator though.
And he comes down the stairs talking to him like maybe there's a way he's okay or something. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But that turn of Paul Rudd's character is so crazy because you do not see it coming. And that's a major, major spoiler in this movie.
I can't remember the line. There was a line that Paul Rudd's character said right before he finds her, and it made me laugh like so hard. I'll have to rewatch the movie. But that was a moment that surprised me too, that Paul Rudd's character threw that zinger. Right?
Yeah.
I know the part that made me laugh at that part was he picks up because Alexander Skarsgård has been using this bedpost he was carving. As
oh
a
yeah,
club. And Paul Rudd picks it up. And he's like, "Did you carve this? Can you carve me a bookcase?"
Yeah,
that's what it was. I think that might have been the line.
It was very funny, and then it was like tragedy from there on.
Yep.
And then he, ends up killing him.
Because it's so messed up. You can't help but think the most messed up thing is going to happen. Because Justin Theroux has been revealed to be a terrible, gross pervert. Like, he's putting cameras into his waiting rooms. And
where children change and stuff. And you're like, wow, this guy is terrible. And Paul Rudd has confronted him about it. At that point in time, you think Paul Rudd is kind of an all right guy who's trying to get him on the right path, and he like slaps him in the face a bunch of times, and he's like, "No," he's like, "No, you're gonna die if you ever do anything like this again, and I'm gonna know." And then, as soon as Paul Rudd's character gets killed,
well, he's
dying.
He's bleeding out, but Justin Theroux is a doctor. He's a surgeon. He has a chance to save him. And he just looks at him and goes, "You should have been nicer to me." It's so cold.
He's like, "Nah, babe, the police would come and stuff." Like, no.
And then he's got a camera view on his daughter's room where he's locked her.
Oh,
and Justin Theroux points the monitor towards the dying Paul Rudd so that he can see Justin Theroux go up to that room
creepily take the daughter.
And you're like, oh my god, is Alexander Skarsgård going to save him? No, because Because he's walked out into the middle of a forest holding the dead
With
body.
the body
He doesn't
of his
even know the little girl's
girlfriend.
there.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, is this the end of the movie?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think I even said out loud while we were watching it, I was like, oh, I see why people hated this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, because at that point, I was pretty mad at the movie.
It's dark.
So
I was mad.
Alexander Skarsgård is having like his own moment, like realizing, processing that his girlfriend that he loved is dead, and Justin Theroux is mad at him for having stabbed him or something, and he takes him to a surgery and gives him like an electrolarynx, like so that he can talk.
Yeah, he installs
He
installs
puts-
that robot box voice in his,
Right.
his throat.
He keeps saying, like, I want you to apologize for killing my friend. Basically, like, it's your fault that Paul Rudd is dead, even though I could have saved him. I did. You know, he's a huge asshole hypocrite.
Yeah.
But he, like, literally is like, I'm an expert. Like, I'm so good at this, I'm going to repair your
I'm
vocal
just gonna
cords
throw in a vocal
just
cord.
to hear you apologize before I kill you anyways. So it's like, he goes from... he goes from the we know he is to not the villain to the ultimate villain.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like, oh god. But I think that even though, like, we're doubling down on the darkness there, like, I think it ends up working, especially the way the movie ends.
Yeah, I think partially because he's had surgery, Alexander Skarsgård's out of it, and partially because he's just so upset that he like doesn't want to try. But Justin Theroux throws the little girl and him. The daughter is like what, 7 or something?
Yeah,
like super super young.
And she's mute for some reason too. I don't know if they actually explain.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's trauma related, like,
Yeah.
considering her life.
Yeah. But he throws them in the car and they go on this road trip to like a place that's more full of nature outside of the city we've been in. And yeah. And he's for some reason still trying to get him to... Oh yeah, that's right. He takes him out to try and show him where the picture of his girlfriend was taken.
The one he's been flashing to everybody
Yeah.
to show. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you guys... What... You were saying that you had problems with part of the movie. Is it like... Is it something we haven't covered?
I think the violence was a little extreme in some parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, Paul Rudd's death was pretty gross. They just leave that there for a few minutes.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah. And obviously, I didn't like the stuff with, like, the kids and, like, the stuff where he's, like, being really gross. I think the surgery stuff, I've never been one of those people who was like, yeah, show me a surgery.
No, my day is always complete when I can see just a massive surgery going on.
Yeah.
Oh, a tonsillectomy? Yeah, sign me up.
Let's get that camera up in there.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I mean,
I get like super nervous around
Yeah.
any surgery
Yeah.
stuff just to begin with.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's it's graphic, but
Excuse me, I gotta go jump out the
honestly
window.
don't think it takes away from... I don't think any of that stuff necessarily takes away from the movie. Like, it's part of the dark nature of the world that they're in.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I understand, like, why, watcher beware. It is a strong R.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, not much sex for a movie with a lot of prostitution and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just robots.
Okay.
See, that was the grossest part for me. The robot stripper thing. I was like, I don't want to look at this. I don't look at C-3PO doing whatever he's doing up there on stage. Get out of here. That felt like a wink towards like Heavy Metal Magazine or something like that, or like 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Did you have anything that you thought was off about the movie at all? I mean, other than things that, we naturally think are gross.
Yeah, I think other than the things that were naturally gross about this movie, which are all up in your face, things you have to deal with in this crazy ass Berlin we're going through. No, I think it served its purpose as well. The movie does a really good job of making sure that you really like Skarsgård's character. Seems like a pretty cool dude in a pretty messed up world, working on all his carvings and
Swimming.
Lots of swimming.
Holding that breath
For sure.
Drinking that ice cold water straight out of the tap. That's risky.
I think that I'm a person who looks for hidden meanings and things anyway, but maybe there are hidden meanings in the movie that I'm not smart enough to understand.
Honestly, I might need more time just to unpack it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
past this podcast, but that's where I'm at.
I've thought of a few different things based on like the names of the characters and what the meanings are of their names. And then I kind of wondered about like if David Bowie might have been an influence on it in some way, if there may have been some connection through his experience as having David Bowie as his dad, that he was telling a story of this like kind of character that doesn't fit into the rest of the world or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
And then I kind of wondered about like Tolstoy, because he was like getting back to like pacifism and the natural world and everything, and I don't think that was actually a thing, but I thought about a lot of different things, and there may be puzzles in this movie that I haven't yet figured out yet, but
either way, I feel like it would reward rewatching.
Absolutely.
And
We've already experienced it.
For me, if something is thought-provoking, sometimes that's enough. If it's not a terrible thing to think about, and this movie left with some positive feelings at the end, so
I was very thankful for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, if it didn't have that nice ending, it would have been like, yeah. No, I think
I was more forgiving of the events that occurred because of that ending.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The nice ending is that the little girl does not have to live with Justin Theroux for the rest of her life.
Because he's
Thank
dead.
God.
Leo ends up coming back to reality for long enough that when Justin Theroux tries to throw him off a bridge, he holds on to Justin Theroux and he drowns because Leo's really good at swimming and holding his breath because of his accident. He's, conditioned to deal with being underwater.
Right, he's like, if the accident stems from his desire to swim underwater the way he does, like, because we see him like going back and forth underneath the pool for a long time without coming up for air and stuff like that, and he does this thing where he holds his breath while drinking water, and it's like we don't necessarily know the root of it, but it does pay off at least. Not just like a weird character quirk. Same thing with the wood carving thing. Like he was making beads for Nadira at some point, and that also pays off. You're not really expecting it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I liked it a lot.
I liked it. I liked that he was a kind person in this, like, kind of world.
Yeah.
And that it's sad in some parts, but it's actually kind of uplifting because of the relationship. You can tell that even though he's not close with the daughter, that she trusts him and that he helps her and that he's gonna get her with her grandmother, which is... It ends up being a positive at the end. Even though you know a lot of these characters, you don't know what their life is going to be like now, but his, you feel like he's probably going to be all right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah. I feel like I may have missed some things, but we enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. I think we covered it pretty well. This, even though we're in the spoiler section, I didn't want to talk about every single detail of it because I want
it to be fun for viewers or
experience
listeners.
it. Tell us what you think. Write in. We want to hear. If you have any thoughts, if you think we're incredibly wrong, write it down on a piece of paper and put it in the garbage.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to read the outro stuff. You guys think of a lesson that you learned from Mute. Makes me want to rewatch Moon again.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
And then rewatch this. And then rewatch Warcraft. Wait, I haven't seen that. I saw it.
Oh, man. I've seen it a couple times now.
What do you mean a couple times?
Warcraft?
Why'd you watch it more than once?
Once was disbelief.
Okay.
The other time was to confirm the disbelief.
Okay. You got a fever.
Confirmed.
And the only cure is more Warcraft. All right. If you want to write into any suggestions for a good psychiatric hospital,
or just a movie to watch instead of Warcraft.
Yeah, sure. Please don't podcast at gmail.com, facebook.com/PDSMiOS. If you have a few bucks you want to send our way, we'd appreciate it. You can go to our coffee site, ko-fi.com/PDSMiOS. The links are in the show notes, as usual. Thanks to David DeRoy for our theme music, to Jed Dowtry for our podcast logo, to Scott and to Spencer, and to Kim for being our cool buddies on the internet.
Thank you, guys.
And to everyone else that is listening, we appreciate it.
We salute you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And shout out to Adam. We're still scarred by Star Crystal.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for coming to my Thursday night Dungeons & Dragons game, too. You rule.
Crystal of the stars. Okay, sorry. Do you guys have a lesson that you learned from Mute? It might be a tough one because there's a lot to unpack.
Oh, there's so many lessons, dude.
Well, hit me with something right off the, boom.
Lesson. I mean, just be a good person.
That's not a lesson.
Yeah, that's a lesson from this movie. Just be a good person in the world.
That good person gets punched in the face. He gets surgery he didn't request.
Yeah, be a good person.
Oh, man. He's a good person. I'm going to remove his wisdom teeth. That's what happened to me.
I know. Poor Joel.
Yeah. Still paying for that. I've been complaining on this podcast for like 3 episodes in a row. That's right. I'm a wuss, I guess.
Don't feel bad. It's intense, dude. It's intense.
Yeah. I requested they put them back in. That's how bad it was.
Oh, I hope you're feeling a little better at least.
No, I'm almost completely fixed.
Good.
Because I got someone else's teeth. Sarah, do you have a lesson?
Lesson. It's good to have a hobby.
What kind of hobby?
I don't know, like woodworking.
Oh, yeah.
Painting or
drawing.
Just doing something with your hands so that you can...
Stripping?
Can kind of deal with the world's craziness. I guess the big lesson is you should, if you feel you need to tell someone something, you should probably tell them.
But what if you're mute?
You write it down on a piece of paper.
And throw it in the trash. See, we all learned something today. No, Aaron, do you have another lesson, or are you going to stick with the be a good guy?
Well, I was just thinking about the world he lived in. That Berlin was pretty scary.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying be a good person.
Okay.
Be a difference in the world. That's what I was trying to get at.
Be the change you want to see.
I guess so.
Like that Amish guy. Well, if I had to pick one lesson that I had to single out from this movie, I think it would be that everyone needs to practice holding their breath underwater for a long time, because you know what? Someday it's going to come in handy. Yeah. Also, watch out for motorboats.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good lesson.
That's a good lesson.
None of this would have happened if he had just been looking out for those motorboats.
That's true.
It never hurts to have a notepad. That's another one.
Oh, that's actually good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that lesson.
Because if Nadira had her own notepad, he wouldn't have been able to find out that secret address, and Paul Rudd would have gotten away with the murder. Wait a minute. I don't know.
Yeah, product placement. Look up a website called Sketch Wallet. They have a really cool little wallet option with a sketchbook inside of it.
I'm a fan of the soft cover moleskin that has no lines inside or dots. It's just blank pages. And
I like a steno pad. I don't know why. I just like steno pads for some reason.
Well, I mean, if it does it for you, Joel, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you also do it for me, listener. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Well, was that too weird?
No, I was just processing it still.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, man.
Why?
Right. I mean...
Why, though?
Sometimes that's just how it is.
Sometimes when we touch... Did they sing that song, too?
Oh, Joel.
Oh. Well, I'm not clear on what they did and what they didn't do, so it's not my fault.
Not even like a rock and roll song, I think, Joel.
The honesty is too much.
It's a different genre.
I have to close my eyes and cry. Is that what they say? I have to close my eyes and cry?
I think it says hide.
Oh, and hide, okay.
And then he says he wants...
I wanna hold you till I die. That's terrible.
Till we both break down and cry.
Okay, we both break down and cry.
Until the fear in me subsides.
Like, until I die? Well, that's
I don't know if I want to hold somebody till they die.
Not until they die. It's until you die. like a growth.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to go take a shower or go to work or something and you're just going to cling to them?
Yeah.
It's like a parasite.
He wants to hide. He wants to die. He wants to cry. And he wants fear to subside.
Yeah, there's a couple more rhymes. He could have pied. He could have lied.
The dude abides.
I want to hold you till I lie.
Hold on until the dude abides.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I don't like that song.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a revolting cheese fest.
I was about to serenade you.
Well, I liked it, Joel. Thank you. I'm kidding.
your song is more like burn, baby, burn.